Racers ready? Watch the game.
So hello and welcome wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day is you're watching, whether it's morning or night time, in Sarrians in France for round one of the UCI, round two of the UCI BMX Racing World Cup. My goodness, time has flown. Same venue, different day. Not that it feels like it. It's a bit of deja vu, Groundhog Day, Rich,
yes,
who's here inside the studio with me. Rich, round one was brilliant. Absolutely loved the racing. Some real highs, some real lows, and in the under 23, some real fantastic racing. So let's take a little look at the area that we're in at the moment. We're in the southeast of France. We are near Avignon, which is in Provence, based on the Rhone River, and about equidistant, in fact, from Avignon, where you see the the papal residence during the course of the medieval period. In fact, at one point there were two popes simultaneously back then. These days just the one, and Avignon now a mecca for tourists, a place of visitation to look at the whole heap of amazing architecture and history. And if you get itchy feet and you want to get on your bike, well, the Ventoux is not far away as well. So you got Ventoux on your road bike, of course, you can head to Sarrians. So here at Sarrians, the BMX track is absolutely world-class, and our riders are going to be taking to it. They've already been in action earlier on, Rich, in the qualification and the last chance qualifier. Any big surprises in terms of our under-23 riders, first of all?
It's been pretty much business as usual, the under-23s. All the heavy hitters are in there from round number one, so we're looking forward to seeing, if things carry on as they did yesterday. The action, wild and exciting. I can't wait for more.
So, at the moment, the weather a little bit cooler than it was for round number one, only 29 degrees at the moment. It will be a little bit hot. It's going to go up to about 32 degrees, and the wind speed should stay calm until we get towards the finals, when it will start to pick up at the very end of the day. We should be done and dusted if it all goes to plan before the wind really picks up, but it is overcast, and it is definitely a day where it's not quite as hot and maybe not as dusty.
Bonjour à tous, Joris Audet. On est ici à Sarrians dans le sud de la France pour la première et la deuxième manche de la Coupe du Monde UCI 2025, et on va vous faire découvrir la piste tout à l'heure. And here we are in the first jump, so it's a 10-meter long jump. They brought it specially for the Olympic Games, so they made the same jump than Paris Olympics, which a lot of people came to train here. So yeah, that's a big jump, 10-meter long, and is the start of the track here. It's a very small first straightaway. It's not very long compared to most of the track. It's going to be a game of being precise on the first jump, and then I think the inside also here is going to be a big advantage. So it will be a good thing to keep the inside gate today. So the second straight, you're going to have to be very precise. You're going to have a lot of speed out of the first turn, since the straight is on the right side now. And here we have the pro section here with a 3.2 meter double, 10 meter long. So yeah, that's one of the biggest jump of the track. Going to be very important to minimize the mistake and keep your speed here on the second straight. It's going to be a very technical straight, and I think we're going to see a lot of passes here. Okay, so after the turn two, you have the third straight. It's a normal track after that. You have to keep your momentum. If you do a little mistake, you lose a lot of speed, and somebody can pass you. So it's going to be, you're going to have to minimize all the mistakes, keep your speed, and keep your momentum going into the last turn. The last straight, it's a long last straight, so you have to stay focused, keep a little bit of energy, to finish the straight fast. And usually it's a good last straight. We saw a lot of passes last year, and it was good moment for me with all the French fans. So hopefully this year will be the same.
Well, the track at the moment, not as dusty, not quite as slippery as yesterday down the streets. We saw incidents even on the start ramp in round one. Round two, we've got tired legs, we've got tired arms, the potential for mistakes are greater, and that's got to be something the riders get ready for.
Yeah, it certainly is. They take the time to recover between, days of racing and that kind of thing. Plenty of ice baths, sometimes the compression equipment as well. Just anything to give them that little bit of edge, be a little bit fresher when they come into day 2 of racing, and I'm sure that's been taken up between rounds.
So time to dive into our 8th finals. The riders being readied at the top of the hill. And you can see with that cloud cover, things maybe not quite as bright and not quite so much glare in the riders' faces as they go down the slope here. You can see the first of our women's under 23 8th finals being lined up with Michelle Vissing in here. And it was a great day for the Netherlands yesterday in the under 23 competitions.
Yeah, it definitely was. Michelle Vissing taking the win. She's won the 2023 and then wins the first round of 2025. Let's see what she's got in this round. So Michelle Vissing on the inside, taking gate number 1. And right next to her, Francesca Cingolani. All right, we are go with the first of the 8 finals. Women under 23 heading down the hill. Michelle Vissing on the inside, winner of round number 1, and already opening up a 3 bike length lead as they come out of that turn. Shimashkina, Rouget and Bruchier chasing her down that second straight, but Michelle Vissing of the Netherlands, the national champion in that jersey, she's out there and in control. Cingolani chasing her down. Rouget and Vidello in the mix as well. But it's all about the winner of round number 1 here in this first of the 8 finals. Michelle Vissing of the Netherlands, she's going to take it. Looks like Alexandra Shimashkina is going to take that second position. The neutral athlete who's going to pick up that final qualifying spot at the line. Rouget and Vidello going through. Cingolani out in 5. She's going to be a little bit disappointed with that.
And a disappointing round 1 and a disappointing round 2 for Cingolani, so not going her way in the first third of the World Cups. But we're going to have 6 rounds this season for the 2025 season. 2 rounds in Sarrians, 2 rounds in Papendal. We then have the World Championships in between then, and rounds 5 and 6, which are coming from Santiago del Estero. Vissing looked very good.
She did look very good. She's certainly got plenty of confidence on this track, and it's beginning to show. And you've had 3 World Cup wins here, or 2 World Cup wins. It's always going to be good for the confidence going into another day. There is your result. Michelle Vissing taking the win. Alexandra Shimashkina in 2. Clara Rouget in 3. Meline Vidello of France going through in that final qualification spot. All right, moving on in the 8 finals. This is heat number 3. Just had a little bit of a shuffle round in the order, and it looks like Veronica Steriska just working her way into that 3rd spot at the moment. But it is Renske van Zandvoort of the Netherlands out in front in that familiar orange jersey, battling away with the rider out of Spain. I've got a feeling that's Mariona Calvis Garcia who's there in that 2nd spot. Ines Claessen's going through in 3rd, I think, at the moment. Steriska in there in 4 as they come in and out of the final turn. Steriska looking good in 3, but Renske van Zandvoort is going to take the win in this 8th final. Steriska makes it through as well. Claessens takes that final qualifying spots. Van Zandvoort looking good, another rider who's had a podium here in the past.
So at the moment, remember, 4 riders going through from our 8th finals into our quarterfinals. Heat number 2 of these 8th finals being delayed due to a mechanical. That will be coming up after heat number 4. It's the current information that we have. So that was heat number 3. So we've had heats 1 and 3 so far. And at the moment, Steriska going well, but not on the form maybe that we saw at the back end of last season, and not having a great round one.
Yeah, it seems like she's putting herself in those outside gates by choice, and she's doing enough to get through. Maybe she'll go to the inside if she makes the main event a little bit later on. Maybe it's just a conscious decision to stay out of that little bit of trouble in the earlier rounds.
Well, that will be to come. You can see the confirmed result there with Van Sanford, Garcia and Stariska going through with Claessens, Drutt and Pinheiro out of the competition, and they will have to wait until they go into the third of our World Cups. That's going to be up in Papendal. That is on the 21st. So a little while to wait as we move on to our next heat here in the women's under 23 eighth finals.
Gate drops on eighth final, number 4. Rider from the outside, Laura Mouget, went well yesterday, made the main event, but it's Ava Caller of the USA who's going to lead it into that first turn. Corley, Mouget, Claessens, Korsakova. That is your 1, 2, 3 and 4. Korsakova's just worked away into that third spot, but it is Ava Corley. Took some wins in the 2024 World Cup Series, so she's well versed in what it takes to win in this particular competition. It's Manikova, I think, in there in 2. Claessens also in the mix, looking for a qualifying spot. And Laura Mouget is going to make it in as well. It's going to be Corley, Korsakova, Mouget, Claessens all making it in. Manikova out in 5. Ava Corley putting her exclamation mark down pretty early on.
And Ava Corley, a rider who really had big expectations coming in, but taking some time during the start of the season, if I remember correctly, to actually before this season get a bit of a reset.
Yeah, took a bit of a reset at the back end of last year, round about the USA BMX Grands. Just chose to prioritise her health a little bit, and it's great to see Ava Corley back on the track.
And it's working out, yeah. I mean, under pressure as she came through there. Great ride there by Manikova. It was really pushing all the way to the line. It's actually gone to photo finish, so we do await that confirmed result to see. But I suspect we are going to see Corley, Koskova, Mouget and Claessens going through the Manikova and Nimishura going out. We will see, though, how that comes on our screen. In fact, there it is. So Ava Corley from Koskova, from Mouget and Claessens, and Manikova and Nishimashura going out of the competition. So that is heat number 4. So we should be dropping back to the gate, and onto the start gate should be heat number 2. And indeed it is, with Emily Hutt there on the inside lane in gate number 1.
Yep, got Sienna Harvey in there as well. So Great Britain have got 2 riders in this one. Oh, it looked like Sienna Harvey had a little bit of a problem as she came out of the gate, so she's going to have to do it the hard way and work her way through from the back. Where is Emily Hutt? She's in there in 3 at the moment. It's Cadero and Fedor of the USA who were in there early doors. Where is Emily Hutt? She's in there in 3. She's looking for the 2. Sienna Harvey has worked her way up into a qualifying spot as well, so the Brits are going well. Cadero and Fedor heading towards the final corner. Emily Hutt's worked her way right the way through to the front. Sienna Harvey shopping for a 3rd place as well as they come down towards the line. It's going to be Emily Hutt, the national champion of Great Britain. She's going to take the win in heat 2. Cadero, Fedor, Harvey, that's going to be your 1, 2, 3 and 4. Emily Hutt putting a good lap together.
Nice lap, and you see the riders just coming in through the line, just heading out and over. They'll get themselves warmed and get themselves prepped and ready. You've got that reset. All the amount of time, those days and weeks at the track, all the competition, the local competition that a lot of these riders start off with, really does pay off when you come to doing these repeated rounds.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you to pull multiple laps over the course of a day. These athletes well versed in it, but Emily Hutt, she was there in 3. She worked her way through to 2. Nice and smooth through that technical second straight, brought it to the line, took the win, and Sienna Harvey keeping the British fans happy with a 4th.
So the first of 4 of our heats are done and dusted, with heat number 2 being run there, with Hutt going through, taking the win. We're going to go back up to the gate very quickly, though, because this is heat number 5 of the 8th finals. So at the moment lined up, Darren Mutton on the inside, Lily Greenough in here, who's going well in yesterday's in round number 1.
So Lily Greenoff of New Zealand, she's there in gate number 2. She finished 7th in round number 1, and she's got a great start. She's battling with Merton into that first turn. I've got a feeling there's a couple of riders who've hit the deck possibly as they go down that second straight. It's Merton, Greenoff, and I've got a feeling in there as well is Fayed Mercado in that top 3. It is. She's in there in 3. Kylie Shea of the USA in there in 4. So the USA going well in this one. Darren Merton's going to lead it into the final corner. Oh, I think that's Yvette Devord getting involved as well. Is she going to be able to sing? Oh, riders off the track. Devord's off the track. One rider's gone down in a heap. Merton with the exclamation as she came across the line. Greenoff in 2. Mercado in 3. Elisa Lance of France took advantage of the carnage in 4. It all went off on the final straights.
Kylie Shea of the United States and Yvette Devord there, the riders who had issues, and we saw Devord in that battle. That 4th, 5th battle was really tight, got too tight, and in the end Devord going off track, and Shea just coming down on the track. All action, and Elisa Devord going to be Elisa Lance going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, Yvette Devord just nudging the back wheel of the rider, trying to make a move underneath her. I mean, she finished 5th in the main event yesterday. She's had to come through via the LCQ today, and then ends up going off track in the 8th. Such a mixed bag of fortunes for the Dutch rider.
I just seen our riders make their way back in. That's Kylie Shea going through, so she's off the track, all done and dusted. We'll be getting those stuff patched up after having just gone off the side of the track there. You can see the result though. Merton, Greenoff, Mercado and Lance, your qualifiers going through in our penultimate heat here in our 8th finals, as we move on to the final one of our 8th finals with Favrel lined up on the inside nearest to the camera.
Yeah, Marie Favrel finished 2nd in round number 1 here at Sarrians, and she's got company as they go down the straight because she's got the American rider in there with her, and that is going to be Alexis Alden. And Betsy Bax of Great Britain getting involved as well. Betsy took a tumble in round number 1, and she's had to pick herself right up from the ground and come back fighting, and she's in there in that 4th spot at the moment, chasing down the American. Alina Beck of Germany chasing Favrel down that 3rd straight there, 1 and 2. Where is Betsy Bax? In there in that final qualifying spot, but she's coming under pressure from another French rider as they go down the final straight. I think it's Garnier who's pushing her right to the stripe. Is Betsy Bax going to hang on? Yes, she is. Betsy Bax takes that final qualifying spot. Favrel, Beck and Alden going through as your 1, 2, 3. Good stuff from the rider from the southwest.
Great riding for our qualifiers there. They'll be very happy having gone through. Robin Gomez and Anne Garnier are going to be the riders who are not going through into our quarterfinals. You can see from the gun here, Favrel really using that inside line coming in and through as she came in, but being challenged all the way there by Alexis Alden and being pushed as they came around those turns. But no real problems, I think, for Favrel, Beck, Alden and Bax there. And you can see they are on your screens. They are our qualified riders confirmed. That's those results verified and checked by the commissaire team. They're the UCI commissaires, the race referees, basically, who are there to make sure that all of the racing is run by the rules and everything goes to plan. You can see one of those commissaires just stood behind the riders lined up, getting ready to go down into the gate as we move across from our women's under 23 competition.
Change of categories now as we move on to the men under 23, and it's the winner of round 1, Jason Noordam from the Netherlands, who's going to go into that first turn first. We've got Molina in there for Argentina, Aaron Donald's in the mix as well for Australia, but it is the Dutch rider Jason Noordam, 5 bike lengths clear at the moment as they come out of that second turn. Louis, Fare and Melis, that is your 2, 3 and 4. Melis trying to get involved in it as they battle into that final corner. Jason Noordam is going to take it down to the line. Noordam takes the win. Louis in 2, Fare in 3, Melis going through in 4.
So your 4 qualifying riders there on your screen going in and through, and fist bump at the end there, just taking a quick check of each other. A real explosive start as always in BMX required. They came down into that first big jump here. It's a huge jump, and you've got to go across it fast. It's not good going high. You've got to get get the distance.
Yeah, you've got to keep it really low in BMX racing, just as keep the wheels on the ground as much as humanly possible. As Mathis Louet comes through, Titouan Faré and Jules Mellis of Belgium wrapping up the top 4.
So the confirmed results on your screen. Nordam continuing where he left off at the end of the racing at the end of round number 1 in Sarrians, round number 2 in the 8th finals. Heat number 1 taking away victory from Louet there as it came in and over the line. We're going to move across on to the second of our men's under 23 8 finals, and you can see Jolly on the inside of Marsh there. Interestingly, very different fates when they were coming down into those the finale of round number 1. Let's see what happens here in round 2.
The 2 Australians on the inside. Joshua Jolly already won a USA BMX Pro Series race this year, and he's going to lead it into the turn. That's Mika Lang, who's come all the way across from the outside in the Netherlands jersey, going really well. And Jean-Moi of Belgium in there in 3. We're looking for the rainbow jersey of Pedro Benel-Salzar. Is he in there? Yes, he is. He's in that 4th spot at the moment, but there's no doubt who's out in front. Joshua Jolly in and out of the final turn. Mika Lang's had an absolute screamer of a lap coming from the outside to take that 2nd spot. Jean-Moi's going to take the 3. Benel-Salzar in 4, but Joshua Jolly putting a good first lap in here in those 8th finals.
Jolly Lang and Jean-Moy followed by Benel Kazar as he went in through 5th. Rider through there was Joel Marsh, Lucas Muse and Niels Appelman, the riders who came down in the turn there as they came around that side. Benel Kazar in that rainbow jersey had a lot of work to do. He's right in the middle of this fight here.
Yeah, he certainly was. He was some elbows flying as they went into that turn as Jean-Moi went underneath him. The other Belgian rider hitting the deck, and that just caused problems for Joel Marsh as well. He took a crash in round number 1, so it's certainly not been his weekend here in Sarrians. He's hoping for more at round 3 in Papendal.
I can just see at the moment Appelman just getting himself back off track there and riding his way through. So clearly, whilst he's not going to finish this stage, not going to be continuing onwards, hopefully going to be in good shape to pick up that training during the week before we go on, which next Saturday, of course, is going to be round number 3 at Papendal. So you saw the results on your screen with Jolly Lang, Jean-Moy and Benel Kazar confirmed going through. We move from heat number 2 to heat number 3 in the men's under 23 8th finals.
Next up, heat number 4 of the 1/8 finals. Tim Goosens, who finished 4th in round number 1, is going to lead it into the turn. I'm looking for the American James Cutter-Williams. He's in there in that 2nd spot, and you've got to keep an eye on Albert Groppo because he's good at making moves in those rhythm sections. Here he comes on the inside, just trying to dive underneath, can't quite make it stick, so he's back there in about 6th at the moment, but it's Goosens, Williams, Nunlist and Molina. Those are your 1, 2, 3, 4. Groppo's not done yet. Oh, big move coming in the final turn, and Groppo goes over the top. Disaster for the Italian. Goosens takes the win. Williams, Nunlist and Bretti Monard right at the end, but Groppo, it all went wrong in the final turn.
He got taken out. I mean, that was a massive dive up the inside, but you might as well just have aimed for the rider outside there for Groppo. He absolutely, I mean, it just went so wrong there on the way through. There's going to be some pretty upset riders there. Let's try and be diplomatic about that as probably possible. You can see here the staff keeping a check on those gate stars, getting their own footage as they come through. Really important for the teams, the data and the information that comes through. They all want the riders to be out like Goosens and to get out of trouble, to go up at the front. The dive on the inside here just took Groppo out of the race completely.
Yeah, you leave a gap in the final turn, somebody's going to try and fill it, and Groppo was the unlucky man on that particular occasion.
So confirmed, Tim Goosens going through with Cutter-Williams, Nunlist and then Bretin Monard. They are your 4 riders going through from the 8th finals into the quarter-finals. That was heat number 3. We're going to move across to heat number 4, where Rochereau, he had a good run until that last race of round number 1, but still a good result for him.
Yeah, he's one of the rising stars of the French BMX scene. Gate drops on heat number 5, and it is Clément Rocheroux who's going to lead it into the turn, but he's got Joss Marnham of Great Britain right there next to him, the rider out of Birmingham BMX Club, as they head down that second straight. It is Rocheroux and Marnham leading it into that second turn. Who's got that third and fourth spot? Marnham under a bit of pressure from Federico Passa. That's Rory Southwell in the mix as well inside the top 4, but there's going to be a bit of action, I think, in this final corner. Moves being made, one rider over the top of the turn yet again. Marnham's going to make it in 2. Rocheroux takes the win. Marnham in 2, Passa in 3, Skursbeck in 4. But yet again, a rider over the turn. It was Rory Southwell of Australia. He's going to pick himself up and walk away, thankfully. But once again, the door left open and somebody wants to bang it shut.
And very, very tight racing. Maybe a little less caution as these riders go through this time around, because this is the second of consecutive days of racing. It's the last day here at Sarrians for the 2025 UCI BMX Racing World Cup. And as they just go through here, you can just see Russia really working hard to stay out of trouble. Going over the top, seeing Rory Southwell go over and not make it in through to the finale. Sliding down that slope gently, but in the hands of our fantastic medical team, who are essential at any BMX racing. That is one of the great advantages going down to the track and joining your local BMX club, because they're going to look after you if you get it a little bit wrong.
Next up, got 2 podium makers from the 2023 round here at Sarrians. Mathis Jacquet, who finished 3rd, and Kip Stoutfasher, who was the winner of under 23 the last time we were here in 2023. And there is Mathis Jacquet of France out in gate number 8. Gate drops, and it is Jacquet on the outside. Stoutfasher in there as well at the moment. Who's going to pick up the whole shot? It's going to be Jacquet, so he's done well right from the outside. Kip Stoutfasher, the winner here in 2023. He was in that full spot as they came out of the turn. Has he managed to hold on to it? Yes, I think he has. He's in there in that full spot. Capello in there in 3. Fares making his move now, the French rider, as they go towards the final corner. In and out we go. Looks like France are going to take this one at the line. Oh, here comes a late charge. Yep, I think it was Mathis Jacquet who stole it at the line from Faure. Stoutfasher worked his way up into 3, Capello in 4, and it was Dohan Capelli, the unlucky man, in that 5th spot.
And a French one too, which is going to keep the crowd happy here in Sarrians. And always great to see that tight racing, even though the 2 riders knew that they were going to qualify, go through. They had a gap back to Stoutfasher and Capello, and those 2 clear of the chase behind.
Yeah, look at Mathis Jacquet's gate. He's right there next to, Matteo Faure. The 2 Frenchmen bringing it to line, one from gate 1, one from gate 8. Superb riding there, Mathis Jacquet. He's been the European champion before now, and he's going through to the quarterfinals.
So heat number 5 of our 8th finals in the men's under 23 done and dusted. We're going to move across to heat number 6. The riders already lined up down on the gate. Just poised and ready to go.
Yep, Alexis Pikanowski finished 2nd in round number 1. He's right there on the inside. We've got Marcus Leth out in gate 6. So Pikanowski in gate 1, Leth in gate 6, and Bailey Seckholz in there for Australia in gate number 5 as well. But it looks like the European champion is going to lead it in and out of the turn. Oh, that looks like the Japanese rider Kiyuchi, who's in there in that 2nd spot. So Japan putting up a strong showing in this 8th final. In and out of the corner we go. Leth's in there in 3. That looks like Aaron Donald, also of Australia, in there in 4, but coming under some pressure as they come to that final turn. Pikanowski is going to take the win in this one. Hayuchi is going to take that 2nd spot. Less under pressure at the line. He's going to go through anyway. Aaron Donald, Marcus Leth, photo finish for that 3rd spot. Seckhold unlucky in 5, but Pikanowski continuing that fine run of form.
So the European champion going through at the top of the standings in that heat, and it is going to be Elizalde de la Vega, who is just making his way in over the line. The rider who came down early on there, the rider from Ecuador, now clearly back onto wheels. So it came out from here. Pikanowski on the inside, taking that inside line, moves across, just gets a little wider there, just takes a little bit of the space up, stopping that attack over the top, just asserting his position there.
Yeah, definitely. He knew exactly what he wanted to do as he went down that first straight, and the game plan worked out to perfection. There is your confirmed result. Pikanowski, Kiuchi, Donald and Leth confirmed as going through to the quarterfinals.
So 2 more of our 8th finals in the men's under-23 competition to go. This is the penultimate one, heat number 7. And you can see immediately behind the riders lined up ready for heat number 8, the final of the 8th finals here in the men's under-23. Gaze in the inside lane here from France. Asmus just on his outside there. Asmus should be the hot favourite here, but you can never count that in BMX.
Just waiting from the nod from our connoisseurs. There we go. So Jesse Asmus of Australia finished 3rd in round number 1 here at Sarrians, where he's just been shuffled back that little bit, but he's still into a top 4 position as they go in and out of the turn. Marek Neusel was in there. Ethan Popovic is making moves as well. It looks like Pierre Gis of France who's in there in front, and Langmanis, the Latvian, working his way up into 2. Asmus in 3, Neusel in 4. But it's all about the French rider Pierre Gis as they go into that final corner. Langmanis is looking strong. Pressure coming on Jesse Asmus from Marek Neusel. Is Langmanis going to make it in as well? He's going to be close to the line. Popovic, I think, might have just thrown it in at the stripe. He has, stealing that final qualification spot away from Marek Neusel. He left it late, the American, but he got the job done.
He certainly did. He just snuck his way in there. Nicely done. And that means he qualifies, goes through to our quarterfinals. Asmus taking a look over his shoulder as he came into turn 2. A real big check back behind to make sure who was around him. How much work did he need to do there?
Yeah, he needed to do a bit. I'm sure he could feel the riders breathing down his neck, and he could probably hear them behind him as well as he came down towards this finish line. Langmanis was right there with him, and Popovic couldn't have left it any later. Lunged at the line, stole that last qualifying position away from Marek Neusel of the Czech Republic.
So heat 7 results on your screen at the moment with Gaze, Asmus, Langmanis and Popovic. The riders going through Neusel, Chidoba, along with Lefebvre, the riders who are not going to make it into our quarterfinals. 4 more riders going to be joining our qualifiers so far into those quarterfinals. And this should be very interesting indeed. Away they go.
Away they go, the last of the 8 finals here for the men under 23. And it looks like Zian Lemay, rising star of the French BMX in all, gets a move put on him as well as they come out of the turn. Materano getting involved, De France and Leclerc as well. Leclerc on the outside as they head towards turn number 2. He starts his move over. He's up into that second spot. One rider hitting the deck, and I've got a feeling that was Materano. Yeah, Materano on the floor in turn number 2. Leclerc in there in 2. Lemay in 3. Who's got that final qualifying spot as we come to the line? Looks like as they go across, it's going to be De France, Leclerc, Zimé, and Peter Daniel in there. All got mixed up. Christa's Apples out in 5, but Materano, disaster in turn number 2.
So Materano, another rider not going the way he planned, just straightens those handlebars. Took a bit of a sting on the way down there. You could see him almost hopping back to the bike. And where did it all go wrong here for Materano? We thought he'd be in the fight here. It wasn't the smoothest run. He was very close.
Yeah, we didn't get a look at exactly what happened there on the replay, but Materano, the South American rider, is known for making their moves in turns, and it just didn't pay off on that particular occasion.
So that is our men's under 23 eighth finals done and dusted, with De France, Leclerc, Lemay and Daniel going in through to join the rest of the qualifiers who've made it from the eighth finals into our quarter-finals. Now they're coming up in this block of racing, the eighth and quarter-finals coming in block number 1 a little bit later on in the day. The semi-finals and the finals coming your direction as well.
Elite men Argo, first of the 8 finals. Michael Bias on the inside. We've got Axel Webster in there as well, and Leo Garayan working his way across, taking the whole shot. Theo Doan in there in 2, Balbach in 3, Webster in 4. So the Germans in those final qualifying positions. It's going a little bit wrong for people as they go down that straight. Looks like Bias might have worked his way into a top 4 spot. Bias, is he going to be able to hold it to the line? He's looking good right now. He's got about 2 bike lengths on the rider in 5 as they bring it down to the finish line. It looks like Garayan's going to take it. Garayan takes that 8th final. Duan in 2, Balbach in 3, and Michael Bias of New Zealand in 4.
Estelle Blanc and Webber, the riders not making it through as they came in through over the line. The 4 riders going through should be, as we saw there, Michael Bias. He held that position. He just had enough speed, enough pace to keep that gap and just to hold that as he went round. It was a couple of bike lengths, but that's a lot in BMX.
Yeah, and Michael Bias is struggling a little bit at the minute as well. He's got a small fracture in his tibia that he sustained in the last couple of weeks. So there's a little bit of an injury to nurse there as well, but he did enough to take it through in that 4th spot. Little shake of the head, but he's done enough to make it through to the next round.
So the confirmed results for heat number 1, the first of our men's elite 8th finals, Gary on Thwen, along with Belbach and Bias. The riders going in to our quarter finals. 1 down, on to our next very quickly here today. And Matthew Rago Richard, a rider who had a great ride and a good run in round number 1 in here, along with Loris Eberhard as well. Webster, Molina, Sciortino, Schilling in that, as well as Norano Murillo.
So we've got the riders who finished 5th and 6th in the final in round number 1. Mathis Rago Richard, his first top 5 finish in a World Cup event. And it looks like Loris Eberhard, who came in 6th in round number 1, is the rider leading it out. Molina's in there in 2, Ciotino in 3. And where is Mathis Rago Richard? Is he in a qualifying spot at the moment? Yes, he is. He's in there in 2. So it's going to be Eberhard, Richard 1 and 2. Who's got the 3? Ciotino's looking good for Italy. He's going to make it in. Who's going to take that final qualifying spot? Is it going to be Liam Webster? We will soon find out. It was Liam Webster who picked up the 4th. The 2 finalists from round number 1. Loris Eberhard and Mathis Rago Richard going 1 and 2. The Italian in 3, the German in 4. So the fine form continues for the Swiss and the French rider.
Do indeed, and as they came in down there, just keeping an eye on Molina as we came through, came out of turn number 1, went off cutting the grass on the exit of that turn, lost all his speed, all his momentum right to the edge of the track. Really came from where the start was here, and you can just see as they dive down and away the speed with which the riders leave the gate. Great shot to see just how quick it is. Yeah,
Webster just holding on to that 4th spot as he came out of the turn. Looked like the rider behind him was just going to try and dive underneath. Couldn't quite make that one happen. Eberhard and Rago Richard going through 1 and 2 though, and making their way to the quarterfinals.
So Eberhard, Rago Richard, Sciortino and Webster, your qualifiers in and through. We'll have to see who is going to be joining them. You can see a lot of the reaction, a lot of the preparation backstage. Great to see these shots and just get that little insight of what the riders are doing before they get up to the gate.
Yeah, certainly one rider who's always smiling is Olympic silver medalist Sylvain Andre, and he's right there in front of us on the screen. So Sylvain Andre and Jamie O'Brien, gates 1 and 2, leaving the gate. Oh, one rider's down already. Drew Polk of the USA. He's making his trademark moves from the outside, and he's worked his way into a top 3 position. So it's Andre, Brink, Polk. That is your 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Who's got that final qualifying spot as they go in and out of the turn? It looks like Aaron Beck out of Germany. So you can hear the fans going absolutely wild for Sylvain Andre as he leads this 8th final and goes down towards the line. Brink's going to take the 2. Drew Polk is going to pick up the 3, and the last qualifying spot will go to Aaron Beck of Germany.
Another fast run down through the track here at Sarrians. So heat number 3 of our 8 final serve complete. Dylan Gombe going down, just coming into that turn. Just got it all sideways as he came up over the top there of the big jump. Nowhere to go at the front. Andre very clearly in there. Jimmy O'Brien just accelerating in towards the end. Almost stole it as they came into the line.
He did. Just trying to put the effort in just to get that win and maybe a better gate position in the next round.
So confirmed results, Andre going through, taking the win from Brink, Polk and Beck. Louis Hinsan, along with Shotman and Gobert, the riders not progressing to our quarterfinals after heat number 3, which moves us on to just before the halfway mark in the men's elite 8th finals. It's heat number 4.
For France, it's Chris Holland, and the United States of America, Anthony Ricardo.
Looks like we've had a slight change in the running order as that is Simon Marcotte in gate number 1 with Hugo Marzlek right there next to him as they go in and out of that turn. So Marcotte leading it out, Marzlek in there in 3. That looks like the continental champion of South America, Diego Arboleda, who's in that 2nd spot, who's got that final qualifying position. Bert Tignoli's in there. Chris Alden, one of the French favourites, he's in there in 5. He's making his move in the turn. Alden makes his move. He's stolen the qualifying position away. It's going to be a drag race to the line. The crowd are going wild. Alden's going to hold on to it. Chris Alden takes the 4. Simon Marcotte with the win. Arboleda and Marzalek 2 and 3. Smart move from Chris Alden in that final turn.
Picardo and Bertoloni not going to go in through. So Marcotte there back on form. He made the most of having that inside gate change of heats there due to an issue with the riders as it came up to the start. So just a switch of those heats around with heat 5 going before heat number 4. We'll update you as we get any information as to when we're going to see heat number 4 with Cullen Dyer Garcia and co. That's the results of heat number 5 up on your screens. Marcotte, Arboleda, Marsalek and Alden going in and through from the 8th finals into our quarterfinals.
There are the familiar rainbow stripes of Joris Dode in the background, waiting his turn as Isaac Kennedy lines up on the gate. Rico Bierman in there as well. Gil Brunner, Oliver Moran on the outside in gate number 6. So Isaac Kennedy 2nd in round number 1 of the UCI BMX Racing World Cup here in Sarrians. Oh, 1, 2, 3 riders hitting the deck before they even get to the first turn. One rider's going to have to pick themselves up and take away that final qualifying position. There's still a spot up for grabs. No such problem for Isaac Kennedy in there in 1. Rico Bierman in 2. Oliver Moran in 3. Who's going to get the 4th? One rider's picked themselves up and they're away. So it's going to be Kennedy, Bierman, Moran, Australia, New Zealand, Australia. 1, 2 and 3 at the line. Who's going to get that 4th spot? We're going to have to wait a little while for the rider to come around. Kennedy takes the win. Bierman in there in 2. Oliver Moran in 3. I've got a feeling that's Gil Brunner of Switzerland who's going to pick up that 4th place, which leaves Suarez in there. Sivra on the floor and before turn number 1. All action in round number 6.
Let's take a look. This is going to come up really, really quick here.
Oh, Brunner, I think he caught another rider's bike. That caused the chain reaction. Everybody went down. Kennedy, Bierman and Moran lucky not to get caught up in it.
And Brunner looked like as it went sideways, he was trying to hold it. He took two riders with him. He was the first to hit the deck and first up, and that means that he's the rider who has gone through. We think this is just going to get confirmed result. The comment says, well, scrutinise that and just kept a check on it. He is through, so Brunner goes through with Moran, with Bierman, and Kennedy. Bierman having a much better round this time round and keeping the cranks intact too.
Absolutely. Broken cranks in round number 1 for Rico Bierman, but his bike's fixed and he's back on it in round number 2.
So the riders lined up ready for heat number 7. The world champion there on the inside, Joris Dode.
Final number 7, it's the battle of the USA BMX Pro Champions, and Cameron Woodall just getting shuffled back a little bit. And where is Joris Dode? He's in there in 5 at the moment. Philip Schaub's worked his way in, and as they go towards turn number 2, Carmona Garcia, I think it is, in that 3rd spot. It is. Oh, I can hear contact, and Dode's been pushed out of it. So one of the pre-race favourites looks like he's not going to make it through the 8th finals. In and out of the final turn, taking it towards the line. Who's going to pick it up at the stripe? It's going to be Eddie Clerté, Cameron Woods going 1 and 2, Carmona Garcia in 3, the Brazilian rider, De Quiros in 4, and a big shock at the 8th final stage with Joris Dode going out.
And we'll not tell you what happened in round number 1 in case you haven't had a chance to watch it. And we do make sure you have a watch back. Joris Dode did end up with 7th place in round number 1, and now left it late. Right in that battle, got pushed wide. You heard the clip. He had to take the foot off the pedal there, and that took him out of contention. It means he's not going to go through. The world champion not having a great day at the office. Certainly not as good as he would have hoped. You can see him, I think, possibly just taking a little bit of time to himself there.
Yeah, Eddie Clerté putting a fantastic lap there to take the win. Cameron Woods, the current USA BMX Pro Series champion, in there in 2, Carmona Garcia in 3, and De Quiros of Brazil in 4.
So Clerté, Wood, Carmona Garcia, Santos Medeiros going in through. Schaub Dode, the 2 riders, the German and the Frenchman, not going through into our quarterfinals. So we should have 2 more of our heats left to go. We're just going to do a double check here as we run through. This is going to be Renkerel on the inside, heat number 8 with Arthur Pielard poised, ready to go.
Heat 8 of these 8 finals, and the winner of round number 1, Arthur Pielard. He's carrying on where he left off in that first round. He's in there in that first position as they come through the turn. Renkerel's in there in 2. Where is Stefan Heil? I think he's in there in 3 right now as he holds it on into that corner. Julian Schmidt, so the 2 Germans. The Germans going very well in these 8 finals. Got plenty of riders going through, but it is the European champion, the winner of round number 1 of the UCI BMX World Cup Series, who's going to take this 8th final. Pielard gets it. Renkerel in 2, Stefan Heil in 3, Julian Schmidt in 4, and Arthur Claeson's out in 5, along with Romain Mayeux.
Romain Mayeux not having the best of weekends, not having the best of round 1s and round 2. Pielard and Renkerel, though, already were in position, and they just kept hold. And you saw that big kick at the end of the first straight there, which propelled Pielard up in to the front there.
Yeah, Pielard, he's certainly having it going it all his own way so far here in Sarrians, but one rider who hasn't had it all his own way is Romain Mayeux. You'll be bitterly disappointed to go out in the 8s.
On his home track, but one of the reasons he's there is because it is his home track, and he will be wanting to make sure that everything runs to plan, and that he's there and showing his face at what is a very important meeting for them. Arthur Pielard, Jeremy Renkerel, Stefan Heil and Julian Schmidt, your riders going in and through. Arthur Claeson's along with Romain Mayeux, the riders eliminated at the 8th finals stage. 1 more of our heats to go. This is heat number 4 that was delayed. In the inside on gate number 1, Ross Cullen already there up on the pedals.
Riders just getting themselves prepared and ready. And there is Ross Cullen in gate number 1. as we take a look at Jakob Sardag, who's out there in gate number 6, but it's Ross Cullen of Great Britain who's going to lead it into that first turn. The Danish riders 2 and 3 at the moment, who's got that fourth spot as they go towards turn number 2. There's no doubting who is out in front. It is Ross Cullen of Great Britain, the Danish duo chasing him down, and that is Andrade Gustan of Colombia, who's in that final qualifying spot. And we've got multiple Colombian riders in there because Vincent Peloardi's in the mix as well. There's no doubt who's going to take it to the line. Ross Cullen is going to win that 8th final. Heat number 4, it goes to the British rider. Dyer in 2, Sardag in 3, Andrade Gustan in 4, Marcos of Spain, the unlucky rider, in 5.
So Marcos not going through with Ribiera and Pelod. The riders, they are eliminated now from our competition as we get our full complement. Ross Cullen straight from that gate drop, really pushing hard on the inside. Managed to get himself the whole shot, come out of that first turn in the lead and no touching him as he came in over the finishing line. And that means that now those 8th finals are all done and dusted. The part-way stage here. Next step complete as we move across with the confirmed results from the 8th finals. Heat number 4, Ross Cullen, Magnus Dyer along with Jakob Sardag, and then Jose Alejandro, Andrade Gustan, the riders who are going through. The 3 riders out, Marcos, Ribiera and Pelod, not making it through into our quarterfinals. And straight into them we go.
Yeah, back to the quarterfinals. Women under 23 first heat. Michelle Vissing in this one, Lily Greenoff, both making finals in round number 1. We've got Calvis Garcia, Fayette Mercado, Rita Federer and Elisa Lance. We see the close-up of Lily Greenoff and Michelle Vissing leading the gate in the first of the quarterfinals for the women under 23, and it is the rider from New Zealand who's going to pick up that whole shot. Somebody making moves and diving underneath. Rita Federer of the USA, and Elisa Lance is in that final qualifying spot in 4 at the moment, but the battle is going on, and here comes Michelle Vissing working her way around the outside, just leaving a little bit of room for Lily Greenoff as they go down that third straight. Maybe she'll try and make another move in this final corner. Front 2 looking good at the moment. Who's going to pick up that 3rd and 4th spot? It's definitely going to be Greenoff and Vissing going through. Who's going to pick up the 3? Who's going to get that 4th spot? The Spanish rider might have just have made it in. Calvis Garcia in the 4th, Rita Federer in 3. It was close as they crossed the line, but there was no doubt about the top 2. It was Michelle Vissing and Lily Greenoff.
So can Vissing get a clean run right the way through to the finals and out the other side? We will have to see, certainly on form at the moment, being pushed by Greenoff, and both respecting each other there, just giving each other enough space to race in.
Yeah, there's no point fighting it out in the second turn. And, you know, there's a possibility that you may touch and crash. If you're going to fight it out, you fight it out right there, right at the finish line. And Michelle Vissing just getting a front wheel in front and taking the win.
And a great battle between 4th and 5th places between Calvis Garcia and Lance as well. And that's it continued most of the way down that straight into the finish there. So Vissing, Greenoff, Federer and Calvis Garcia, the riders through. Lance, Fayette Mercado, the 2 riders who haven't made it from our quarterfinals into the semi-finals, but we have our first 4 riders in and qualified to go through. So a quick reminder, we are here down at round number 2 of the UCI BMX Racing World Cup for 2025. We're currently into what is our quarterfinals at the moment, in with the quarterfinals for the women's under 23 competition. This is going to be heat number 2.
Marie Favrel just taking those deep breaths, getting herself prepared. It drops on the second of the quarterfinals for the women under 23. Renska Van Sanfort is the rider getting out in front early doors. Favrel right behind her in that second spot. Laura Muget getting in the mix as well. And Shmeshkina, the neutral athlete, there in 4th, but coming under a little bit of pressure. Oh, rider down on that second straight. That looked like a harsh crash as well. Muget and Favrel holding on to 3 and 2, but Van Sanfort is the rider out in front. Simashkina in there in that 4th spot. We'll have to go back to find out who the rider was who hit the deck. I've got a feeling it was Vidello of France. Van Sanfort takes the win Favrel in 2, Laura Mouget in 3, Simashkina in 4. Disappointment for Sienna Harvey of Great Britain. She's going to go out in 5. But Malene Vidello took a hard hit on that second straight.
Yeah, Malene Vidello was challenging there just to get into that 4th qualifying spot. Not able to just squeeze into position, really key. Getting into the top 4, and that's where the battle was, and that is why we saw Vidello go down.
Yeah, Van Sanfort leading into the turn. Sienna Harvey was pushing hard. She was looking for a position. She couldn't make it through. She ended up in that dreaded 5th spot. Alexandra Simashkina, the neutral athlete, taking that 4th place.
Well, the crowd waving the French flags here in Sarrians in Provence as the racing continues. Confirmed results in the women's under-23 quarter-finals in heat number 2 with Van Sanfort, Favrel, Mouget and Simashkina going in through. You see Vidello and Harvey, the 2 riders not making it through in from our quarters into our semi-finals. Our semi-finals coming up a little bit later on in the day. The first block of racing, the 8th and the quarter-finals. The second block of racing, the semi-finals and our finals. So our riders at the moment just making sure they're up and ready. And Rich, it's great to see loads of BMX fans, loads of the local kids coming down and keeping a check on what's going on. They're watching these riders, getting inspired here. And we talked about yesterday, if you want to get some information, things like the podcast, there's loads out there. Fantastic place for information to learn more about it. But if you want to jump on your bike, get yourself down to your local club, your local BMX track, local racing, you can't beat being up close and personal.
No, you definitely can't. The easiest way to get involved with BMX racing as a sport is to go to the governing body of whichever nation you're in, whether it be French cycling, or cycling, British cycling, whoever it might be. There'll be something on the website there that'll take you towards your local BMX track, and I've got to say that local BMX racing, it's the best place to start. You start as a novice kid. All these riders you see on these tracks today in the World Cup, they all started as younger riders. Going to that BMX track for the first time, going into that inclusive environment, it's so welcoming, it's so much fun, and for young riders, they'll make so many friends.
And it's not just our riders and the youngsters coming through. There's a space for everybody, whether you're there, you're going to be grooming the track, whether you're a data geek and absolutely superb with the timing system, whether you're great at cutting the grass, probably be about my level of job there. And I know you and I both are involved in local grassroots sport, quite literally. It does make a huge difference. It's not just, take your kids and drop them off. It's not a babysitting service. It is get involved, get down. It's a really great community.
Yeah, there is. There's a fantastic community, and there's something for everybody. You'll see the parents getting involved, being race officials, being volunteers. There's so much that can go on. Just get involved in BMX racing at the local level.
Well, we're going to get back into the racing. The riders just lining themselves back up at the gate here. You can see this is heat number 3 of our quarterfinals with Hutt on the inside, the world champion Zariska on the outside.
Yeah, Emily Hutt, the national champion of Great Britain, finished 3rd in round number 1 here at Sarrians. Poised and ready. Just keeping herself focused and motivated. All right, here we go. 3rd of the quarterfinals for the women under 23. Who's going to be the first of that first turn? Emily Hutt on the inside. Looks like she's going to lead it in. Darren Merton of the USA diving underneath and working her way into that 3rd spot. That is Veronica Stariska, who's come all the way across from gate number 8 to work her way into that 2nd position behind Emily Hutt. So Hutt, Stariska, Merton, and that's Clara Rouget, I think, of France in there in that 4th spot. Emily Hutt starting to open up a gap now. Merton's looking comfortable in that 3rd place. It is going to be Emily Hutt of Great Britain. She's going to take the win in this round of the competition. Quarterfinal winner Emily Hutt, Stariska in 2, Merton in 3, Rouget in 4, and the Clayson sisters out 5 and 6.
So Jaden Innes not making the way through, both the Claysons out of the competition. Up from Stariska. Stariska coming there from the outside. She gave herself room to really work down that start ramp. She was clear of everybody else out to the side of them, and it just left her that great run down. She could come right up alongside Hutt there.
Yeah, plenty of space, keeping herself herself out of trouble, working her way through in that second spot. Merton in third, Clara Rouget in fourth, but there was no doubt about the winner. That was Emily Hutt of Great Britain.
So as you see the riders checking themselves in for each of the heats, the team there just making sure all the right riders appear in all the right heats at the right time. Several hundred riders processing their way in and through time and time again, as we see the confirmed results there of the women's under 23 quarterfinals. Heat number 3, Hutt, Stariska, Merton and Rouget through, confirmed, with Jade and Ines Claessens, the 2 riders not making it through from this stage into our semi-finals coming up a little bit later. That leaves us one more heat to go, and as you can see, Ava Corley just there making sure that she gets herself in position. Women's under 23 quarter-finals, final heat.
Last of the quarterfinals for the women under 23, 2 American riders in this one, Ava Corley and Alexis Alden, and they're right there going into turn number 1. Betsy Bax of Great Britain getting involved, working her way around the outside. Can she hold on to that position? She's working away from 4th into 3rd. They're almost together as they go across into turn number 2. Bax still in the qualifying spot right now, but it's Ava Corley, Sabina Korsakova going 1 and 2. Betsy Bax in there in 3. Alexis Alden's making a late move from 5. Can she work her way into the 4 and past Cadero as they get towards the line? Bax is going to go through in 3. Corley, I think, is going to take it on the line. Corley gets the win. Korsakova in 2. Betsy Bax in 3, and Alexis Alden of the USA. She left it late, but she took the position in the semis.
Through is through. Wins a win. Getting through is getting through. And that's the important thing here at Sarrians at this stage in the competition, making sure that you progress in from our quarterfinals into our semi-finals. You can just see going over there, the gap opening, and it was such a tight battle in here, but a loss of momentum really did take its toll on the way through there on a number of the riders.
Yeah, you can see Cadero shaking her head as she went across the line as Alexis Alden passed her. She knew she'd let it slip, and the American going through there in that 4th spot. Betsy Bax in 3, Sabina Korsakova in 2, and Ava Corley taking the win in the last of the quarterfinals for the women under 23.
So the confirmed results in and computed as we move our way in and across. You can see the riders getting themselves lined up. The women's elite quarterfinals, heat number 1, Laura Smulders, along with Axel Etienne, Nadine Eberhardt, Agustina Cavallari, Alexis Gobbi, Valentina Munoz van Negas, and Celia Bonnet. Nearly ran out of breath myself there, never mind that I haven't been sprinting down the ramp and over the finishing line.
Women Elite quarterfinals are go. Laura Smulders, who finished 4th in round number 1. All 1 riders already hit the deck. I've got a feeling that was Nadine Eberhard. So one of the finalists from round number 1 is definitely out in round number 2. Let's hope she's okay. It looks like Axel Etienne is keeping the French fans happy and leading it into that turn. It's Etienne, Smulders, Vanegas, Augustina Cavalli of Argentina is in that final qualifying spot under a little bit of pressure as they come to the final turn. It looks like Smulders has taken the lead away from Axel Etienne. Smulders, Etienne going through. Vanegas, I think, has made it in as well. She's in there in 3. Augustina Cavalli in 4. Lexis Colby in 5. But it looked like a big crash for Nadine Eberhard as they went down that first straight.
And Nadine Eberhard had a great race. I mean, she made it into the finals in round number 1, and just not to be a day.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it right here. She was in the middle of the pack. Oh, it went completely wrong. Over she went. Race over for Nadine Eberhard. I'm hoping she's going to pick herself up and walk away from that. From 6th in round number 1 to not making it out of the quarterfinals in round number 2. No such problems for Laura Smulders. Taking the win, but Nadine Eberhard, round 2 ending not the way she would have wanted.
And Alexis Colby, Celia Bonnet, they're not making it through into the semi-finals as well. Both will be disappointed with that, I'm sure. And a confirmed result on your screen: Laura Smulders, Axel Etienne, Valentina Munoz Vanegas, along with Agustina Cavalli. They're your 4 riders making the way in through from the women's quarterfinals, heat number 1. We still have 3 more heats to go. 12 more riders to join the 4 riders that have made it through so far. And compression, Rich, is you come down the ramp, you have to ride it to feel it. I mean, it's pretty fierce, isn't it? You come down off that ramp, you go down, and it's a very short distance between the start ramp and the face of that first big jump here.
Yeah, it certainly is. It takes a lot of strength, core strength and that kind of thing, just to hold yourself in that position and take that jump in the best possible manner and get drive off the backside. Anyway, moving on to heat number 2, we've got the World Cup champion, Saya Sakakibara in this one. Manon Veenstra, Olympic medalist. Amongst the competitors, Sienna Powell's in there as well, and Mackenzie Gayhart from the US of A.
And Saya Sakakibara maybe not having the result that she wanted from round number 1, will be looking to make her way through as smoothly as she can, save as much energy, at the same time be in the prime spot as we move through. Let's see if she can do that now.
So the 2 Olympic medalists on the inside in this one, Saya Sakakibara and Manon Veenstra, and indeed it is the Olympic champion taking the whole shot. Veenstra's in there as well. Where is Sienna Powell? She's back there in 5 at the minute, so on the outside looking in, but chasing away through that second straight and looking for a position as they go into that second turn. Can she make the move? Yes, she can. Taking it from Indy Sheepers, I think it was Sienna Powell, working her way into a qualifying spot. Meanwhile, out front, Saya Sakakibara and Manon Veenstra, they're going 1 and 2. Who's going to pick up that third spot? Looks like I think it's going to be Talia Burford who's going to take third. Sienna Powell going through in 4. Indeed it was. Bondarenko in 5. Schkeepers in 6. Mackenzie Gayhart out in 7. But Saya Sakakibara almost back to business as usual.
Almost. Interestingly, that time for that qualifying, the time for her to go through and qualify, 33.998 seconds. Smolder's time, 35.053. So substantially quicker, but maybe a slightly easier run for Saya Sakakibara, clear at the front and not needing to push quite as hard.
Yeah, she put some great laps in the earlier rounds this morning, battling with Bethany Shriever. She's certainly got plenty of time on this track, living only 13 minutes down the road. She knows it like the back of her hand, and she made it pay in that quarter-final.
So let's get a confirmed result, confirm those times for you. Just seeing our screens change in front of us, in fact. So there we go, Saya Sakakibara, 33.998, so actually improving on the time there as it comes through, updated there. And it does mean Manon Veenstra behind, taking second place, Talia Burford in third, and Sienna Powell in 4th place. Laura Smolders heading up the first of our quarterfinals. Saya Sakakibara the second, who will take away victory in heat number 3 in our quarterfinals.
Third of the quarterfinals, heading down the hill. Bethany Shriever of Great Britain. Is she going to lead into the turn? Yes, she is. So Shriever out in front. That looks like Malin Kelstrup, Payne Ridenour, and Leah Brindong. That is your 2, 3, and 4 at the moment. The 2022 under-23 world champion Malin Kelstrup in that second position, doing it for Denmark. But there's no doubt who's out in front. It's the Olympic champion from Tokyo 2021, Bethany Shriever of Great Britain. She's going to win this quarterfinal by quite a distance. Who's going to get the 3 and the 4? Looks like Bryn Donkey's going to make it through in that 4th spot. She goes through in 3rd, in fact. Camille Murr in 4, Peyton Ridenour out in 5. She made the final in round number 1, goes out in the quarterfinals in round number 2.
That second day, a real change and a real shake-up with Ridenour dropping her performance. Not as good. Bethany Shriever, who was bitterly disappointed with the performance in round 1, back on form again.
Absolutely back on form. She had Malin Kelstrup right there next to her, and Peyton Ridenour was in contention as they went into turn number 1. Didn't quite work out as they came down, and Bethany Shriever learning the lesson from round number 1 and just throwing a lunge in at the line.
So with Smolders, Etienne, Munoz, Vanegas, Cavalli, Sakakibara, along with Veenstra, Burford, Powell, Shriever, Kelstrup, Brinduk, and Mayer. Those are the riders who will be moving through, just waiting for those last 4 names to be confirmed. But we have got Heat 4 coming up very shortly, including Molly Simpson, who had a great ride in round number 1. Layla Walker as well, into her first season absolutely flying, Rich. A real, really, really good to see her moving so quickly. So as we just take a little bit of a check, you can just see we're just having a little refresh. We're going to get those graphics wound back up to speed, because as we go away, you can see next set of riders out underway.
Yeah, we're underway, and it's Molly Simpson hitting the podium in round number 1 and taking the whole shot in this quarter-final in round number 2. Zoe Clayson's the winner of round number 1 in there as well. So all the podium makers out in front. Who's got that third spot? Looks like Layla Walker in there in 3. No, it's not. It's the rider from the USA. That's going to be Delaney Vaughan. Delaney Vaughan in that third spot. So it looks like Layla Walker might be going out to the quarter-final stage unless something drastic happens as they come down that straight. She's pushing hard. She's battling away with Eliska Butenkova. Who's going to get it at the line? Did Walker get it? I think she did.
Oh, that was so close. I think you're right, Richard. Just had that momentum going through. Really interesting. That battle between Simpson and Clayson's there. Really, really close at the front. And that scrubbed some of the momentum off Clayson's. She dropped back into second. That fight for third, fourth, fifth. Really fantastic to watch. Let's take another look at this start.
Yeah, Molly Simpson got a great one, and she had the rider from the USA, Delaney Vaughan, who's also capable of ripping off a really good start when she wants to. She was in there in that third spot as they went into the turn. Simpson took it at the line. Who got that fourth spot, though? I've got a feeling it might have been the 7 of Layla Walker, who's gone through in that final qualifying position. And there is, or we may have the confirmation very soon. I'm looking at it on timing and scoring, and it tells me that Layla Walker has indeed gone through in that fourth spot. Top 4 being Simpson, Clayson's, Vaughan and Walker in that order.
Yep, Bartukanova as well as Williams. The riders not making it through, so Simpsons, Clayson, Vaughan and Walker join the rest of those riders in the women's competition, moving through from the quarterfinals into the semi-finals. Our riders lined up though in the men's under 23 competition already.
Yep, change of category as we move on to the men under 23. We've got Jason Nordam and Clement Rocheroux in this one, and it looks like the winner of round number 1 is going to be first into that first turn. Jason Nordam out of the Netherlands, Clement Rocheroux in there in 2, and it looks like Enzo Leclerc, I think, is there in about 4th or 5th at the moment, just working his way into 4th as they go in and out of the turn. It is Rocheroux. Lemay is in that second spot, so 2 French riders inside the top 4, keeping the local fans happy, but Jason Nordam picking up where he left off in round number 1, taking the win. It's going to be Lemay, Rocheroux, Leclerc. That's going to be your 2, 3 and 4. Skursbeck out in 5, but Jason Nordam continuing his fine form.
Well, we still got to see 3 of our quarter-finals in the under-23 men's, but at the moment, I mean, Nordam is looking imperious. He's looking good, as he's missing real repeats of round number 1. Absolutely on fire here.
Yeah, Jason Nordam said in his winner's interview for round number 1, he said he'd spent a lot of time focused on the gym, building that power, building that engine, doing the work inside the gym, and it's clearly paid off because he's winning laps left, right and centre.
And it is that work, isn't it, that the riders are doing in the off-season, that training that builds. Get that right, it's going to peak, it's going to come to the fruition when you come out and race, and it really is working for Nordam at the moment. And he's got that line, that preferred line, he's coming through, he's taking the win, he's getting the inside, he's getting gate 1, he's nailing gate 1. It's rinse and repeat time and time again.
Yeah, he's following the process. It's all about the process, Matt, when you're riding at this level, and he seems to have it down to perfection in the under-23 category.
So the first of our results confirmed with Nordam, Lemay, Rocheroux and Leclerc, the 4 riders going through. Who's going to be joining? We move on to heat number 2. Geisa, Asmus, Nunlis, Donald, Britta, Menard, Mellis and Daniel, the riders who will be contesting the second of our heats. He's just seen those riders on your screen that they're going to be joining who have been confirmed in position. So there you go, you can see the riders and the gates that they are in. Asmus in gate number 3.
Gate Gate drops on quarter-final number 2 for the men under 23. I've got my eye on Jesse Asmus, who's made a little bit of a mistake as they go down that first straight, and he's shuffled him right back. He's there in 1, 2, 3. He's worked his way into 4th after a little bit of a wobble down straight number 1. So he's there in that 4th spot, just holding on to it at the moment. Riders stacking up behind him. It's the 2 Frenchmen out in front. Piaget's Matteo Fare. I've got a feeling that Sealed and Unlist might be in there as well somewhere. Asmus looking like he's good for that 4th spot. The French are going to go 1 and 2. Who's going to pick up that 3rd position? It's going to be Arthur Bretin-Monard. So France going 1, 2, 3, Asmus in 4, but he had a little bit of a scare going down straight number 1.
He did have a little bit of a scare on the way down there. Rich, really, I saw you, Rich, you almost jumped off the floor there as he landed that, and it just went just that little bit wrong. You saw him go low on the bike. He was recovering to 4th, fantastic.
He did, he held on to it really, really well. We'll probably get a second look at it now as they come out of the hill and down the straight. Asmus, a very, very familiar figure on that pink bike that he rides. That's how we pick him out. But it was the 2 Frenchmen, Piaget and Matteo Fare, who brought it to the line. Arthur Bretin-Monard working his way in as well. Asmus safe in 4. He's only got to be in there to make it through to the next round.
And you saw Piaget who put down that power. I mean, he lifted the bike off on that start. Great shot as he accelerated away. He goes through, taking the confirmed top spot there from Fare, followed by Bretin-Monard and Asmus, who made it through despite that scare. Daniel Mellis, Donald and Nunlis, the riders not moving on in heat number 2, the second of our quarterfinals. We move on to quarterfinal number 3. The world champion, not pensive, more thoughtful. I don't think I want to be on the receiving end of that stare.
Yeah, he's on the outside though. He's in gate number 7 in this one with Mathis Jacquet in lane number 8. So it's a very, very stacked quarter-final in this under-23 category. Joshua Jolly, junior men world champion, right there on the inside. So an interesting quarter-final awaits us in men under-23, heat number 3. Gate drops on the 3rd of these quarterfinals. Joshua Jolly, the junior men world champion, already had a win in the USA BMX Pro Series this year. He's taking the whole, so the former European champion Mathis Jacquet in there as well in 2, and I'm looking for James Cutter-Williams. He's working his way up the inside and into that 2nd spot. Riders going off in that turn. Marcus Left getting involved. He's in there in 3. The French rider, I think, is Titouan Fare, who's there as well. So as they go in and out of the final corner, down that final straight, moves being made, positions being exchanged. Left's going to go through, I think, in that 2nd position. Joshua Jolly taking the win. Fare in 3, Williams in 4. Ben Cesar, the world champion, is out, as is Mathis Jacquet.
Jacquet de France, the riders who tangled on the way through there, but no doubt in Jolly there at the front. Left moving well. He looked to me to be right in the midst of that tangle as they came in through, but Mathis Jacquet and Leo de France, the riders who didn't make it through, and you can just see coming down that finishing straight, wanted to get in and over the line there. And Mathis Jacquet, he will come in and across the line. Not to be his day here today.
Not at all, not at all. Joshua Jolly is a trademark fantastic start, and Jacquet was coming across from the outside. He finished 5th in round number 1. It came to an end coming out of the first turn in round number 2. Jolly, Leth, all making it in. Fare and James Cutter-Williams rounded out the top 4.
So 12 of our riders now moving through from the quarterfinals. You can see that Jolly, Leth, Fare and Williams confirmed they're joining Gaysa, Fare, Bretin-Monard, Asmus, along with Nordam, Lemay, Rochereau and Leclerc. Who's going to join them? It's going to come out from a pretty stacked heat number 4. That's going to be coming your way very, very shortly. The quarterfinals, the last block of racing in this block number 1. Last set of races, and you can see the European champion already primed, ready to go.
Yeah, Alexis Pishinowski, European champion in there in gate number 1. The British fans will be looking at gate 5 and the familiar figure of Joss Marnham. So let's have a look as they come down the hill in the last of the quarterfinals for the men under 23. Mika Lang not being able to get across this time around, and it's Tim Goosens who's working his way in. Where is Josh Barnum? He's in there in about 5th spot at the moment. The Japanese rider Kiyuchi in there in 3, but he's under pressure from the rider from the Netherlands. 1, 2, 3. Who's got the 4? Marnum's in the 4. Mika Lang in the 5. It's going to be a big one as they come into that final turn. Hayuchi, I think, in the 4th spot. Looks like Josh Barnum's going to go out in 5. Langmanis is going to make it in. Langmanis, I think, taking the win. Pikanowski in 2. Tim Goosens in 3. Kiyuchi in 4. Disappointment for Great Britain's Josh Barnum in 5, but Langmanis, a solid lap from him in the last of the quarterfinals.
And great riding there by Kiyuchi. You could see he was under pressure. He piled his way in there, and he defended it so well as he came in through, and just shows just how strong he was. He could fend off all of that attention. Came through in 4th place, just being passed as they came into the line by Tim Goosens. But I thought really good ride by him.
Yeah, took much more notice, I think, of Barnum as he was battling with Ayuchi, and Langmanis almost sneaked through unnoticed, the rider from Latvia. Fantastic lap from him.
So Langmanis, Pianowski, along with Goosens and Kiyuchi, our riders, the 4 qualified riders, just waiting for that to be confirmed for us, and we will then know that they are going to make their way through, and indeed they will. So Langmanis, Pianowski, along with Goosens and Kiyuchi, they're the riders going through. Joss O'Mano disappointed along with Lang, Jean-Moy and Passer. Their competition done here in Sarrians. They'll have to wait until we move on to Papendal, which is kicking off round number 3. Papendal on the 21st of June for round 3, and Papendal on the 22nd of June for round number 4. Then we get a break in World Cup competition as we move across to the World Championships. Time to change category though to move on to our men's elite.
Yeah, got Jamie O'Brink in this one, lining up for the Netherlands. He's in gate number 1. Simon Marquardt in gate 3. The only rider to make every single Elite Men main event in the 2024 season. He's a picture of consistency. Can that consistency continue here at Sarrians? Gate drops on the first of the quarterfinals for the men elite. I've got my eye on Diego Arboleda right there in lane number 2, and he's battling away, taking the whole shot. Simon Marquardt, Leo Garayan, Gil Brunner, that is your 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment, but looks like Jamie O'Brink has worked his way in, and that looks like Leo Garayan back there in 5, chasing down, I think it's Magnus Dyer who's in there in that 4th spot. So Dyer and Garayan battling for the final qualifying position in the semi-finals. Garayan's lining him up, looks like Arboleda is going to take the win. Is the Frenchman going to go out? He is. Garayan out in 5. Dyer takes the 4. Brink in 3. Marquardt in 2. Arboleda with the win.
Well, Arboleda coming good right at the right time here, just making his way through there, going through with Marquardt, Brink and Dyer. Garayan not able to challenge at the end there. Brunner also going out along with Sardak and Schmidt, just waiting for that confirmation as they go through. But that was a tight race, Rich.
It was very tight indeed. I knew Arboleda was going to move across. He's got form for moving across on riders on this track. It's how he put Romain Mayu out in the 2023 race here. Did exactly the same to Jamie O'Brink. Brink just held on to it for 3. Dyer in 4. Garayan will be absolutely kicking himself about being in 5th.
It's a place nobody wants to be. They all want to be in those top 4 riders. As the cloud cover still stays, a slight breeze just starting to pick up here in Sarrians. As we see here the results of the first of our men's elite quarterfinals confirmed with Arboleda, Marquardt, Brink and Dyer. The riders going through. They're the first 4 qualifiers here in our men's elite quarterfinals. Heat number 2, another packed, stacked race field.
Yep, Arthur Pilard, winner of round 1. Sylvain Andre in there as well. Cameron Wood, and that's just gates 1 to 3. Enough watts to power a small town coming from those guys. And that's before you add in the likes of Mateo Carmona Garcia, Hugo Marzlek and Michael Bias. Big quarterfinal coming up. The winner of round 1 in there. And the rider who came 3rd, Sylvain Andre. It's Go, go, go on quarter-final number 2. Arthur Pilard, Sylvain Andre. Looks like we've got Hugo Marzalek trying to work his way in as well. And there is Cameron Wood inside the top 4. So let's have a look as they come down that straight. Michael Byers back there in about 6th and pushing hard. But it is Pilard out in front. Oh, Cameron Wood has gone down. The USA BMX Pro Series champion is out of it. He took Michael Byers with him. Meanwhile, Arthur Pilard, Sylvain Andre going 1 and 2. Looks like Marzalek's going to make it in as well. Carmona Garcia, Andre in 4. Pilard takes the win. It all got mixed up in turn number 2 and went wrong for Cameron Wood and Michael Byers.
A real tangle between those two riders. Pilard keeping clear of trouble. Now up at the front there as the riders just start to make their way back down. Michael Byers just rolling his way in around, coming around that final turn. He'll make his way down past the crowd here. I'm sure we get a big round of applause from them. Sylvain Andre looking like he's just going to take a very deep breath here as he's come through, just still waiting for those confirmed results to come in. Let's watch this back again.
Yeah, let's just watch it back. Sylvain Andre just got cut off a little bit there by Cameron Wood and squeezed him back as they went into that first turn. But it's all about who crosses that line first, and the battle was going on. Cameron Wood tried to make his move on Sylvain Andre. Couldn't make it stick. You ain't shifting Sylvain Andre in a turn like that unless you're very, very lucky. Didn't work out for Cameron Wood at that time, and that caught up Michael Byers in the same incident. End of day for those two riders.
And that is confirmed on your screens with Byers and Wood, the two riders involved in the incident in amongst the non-qualifiers, Beck and Andrade. Going through, Arthur Pilard along with Carmona Garcia, Marzalek and Andre. The 4 riders, 3 Frenchmen, 1 Colombian, making their way through from our quarterfinals into our semi-finals that are coming up a little bit later on today. Half of the quarterfinals done. We've got heats 3 and 4 in this men's elite competition, and that will round out our quarterfinals here. But at the moment, all eyes on the track. They're in the gate, ready to go.
Quarterfinal number 3 heading down the hill. Ross Cullen on the inside. Drew Polk trying to get involved as well for the USA. It looks like he's going to be Cullen. Renkerel going 1 and 2. Who's in that third spot? Drew Polk has pulled his trademark moves in the turns to work his way into a top 3 position. He's in there. Look at the battle. I think that is Webster in there in 4 for Germany, and trying to get involved as well is De Quiros from Brazil. But as they head down the final straight, it is going to be Ross Cullen taking the win. Renkerel's in, Drew Polk is in as well. Matisse Rago-Richard following up on his 5th place from round 1, working his way through in that 4th spot. Disappointment for Rico Bierman.
It is indeed, but makes his way in and over the line safely in one piece, which is great to see. A fantastic race there as they came in through. Cullen going off very, very hard from the start. Some fantastic moves from Drew Polk on the way through there. Renkerel, relatively straightforward run, if such a thing could be said in BMX. Rago-Richard doing yet again, showing he really is up for this weekend.
Yeah, he definitely is up for it, that's for certain. So as they headed towards that line, it looked like it was going to be Drew Polk in there in 3, Matisse Rago-Richard in 4, Renkerel in 2, Ross Cullen taking the win.
So just taking a little bit of a look at that, 31.186, that seems very quick to me. So Cullen from Renkerel, Polk, Rago-Richard, we'll have to see and get that confirmed. So as they go through, that is heat number 3 come through, and so far I think just getting it potentially confirmed, I think that's the fastest lap of the day so far for Ross Cullen. We'll see if that's going to hold on from there onwards. Now on to the last of our quarterfinals.
Yeah, we've got Eddie Clerté and Isaac Kennedy lined up in this one. Loris Eberhard made that main event in round number 1. He's there in gate number 3. And I've got a close eye on Chris Alden of France, who's there right on the outside in gate 8. And the Italian rider is Marti Ciottino. Last of the quarterfinals for the elite men. A little bit of a twitch there from Eddie Clerty, and it's allowed Isaac Kennedy to get out in front. One riders hit the deck before they even get to the first corner. I've got a feeling that was the German rider Balbach who's gone down in a heap. So Isaac Kennedy of Australia, the reigning World Cup champion, leading it in and out turn number 2. Eberhard in 3. Looks like Eddie Clerty, I think, rounding out the top 4 at the moment. Chris Holden's in there in 5. He's really going to have to put a move in if he wants to get his way in. Doesn't look like it's going to happen for Holden. Kennedy takes it at the line. Kennedy, Eberhard, Clerty, Theo Tuan going through in that 4th spot. Chris Holden out in 5. Jonas Balbach was the rider who hit the deck on that first straight. Kennedy looking good in this particular round.
And you can just see Jonas Balbach there just walking the bike off the track, off to the side there. Good riding by Isaac Kennedy, though, looking like he's back to his best. And if he ever isn't at his best, he's so strong.
Yeah, he did. And what happened was with Jonas Balbach, he came across, he got tangled up with Chris Holden, and the front wheel went from underneath him. That was enough to put him on the floor. Meanwhile, Kennedy was taking the win. Eberhard in there as well. Eddie Clerty for 3 and Theo Tuan for 4.
So we'll get you those confirmed results of our last 4 riders going in through into those semi-finals that will be coming up a little bit later on today. The 8th finals and the quarter-finals coming to you from Sarrians in France for round number 2 of the 2025 UCI BMX Racing World Cup. Fantastic racing, Rich, really fast and furious, and that's the last of our men's quarter-finals, men's league quarter-finals. Almost sums up the racing. Riders going down, seeing some of our big names go through, so those riders are making their way in and through and making their way into our semi-finals. You can catch up with those very shortly indeed.
Voilà, mesdames, messieurs, eh bien, à 15h, le live de l'EG, bien sûr, pour eh bien, la deuxième épreuve de la World Cup UCI BMX Racing.
Yep, just taking a look at the best moments, and always smiling Sylvain Andre there as Emily Hutt just throws on the goggles. I think it might have actually been Ross Cullen, I do apologise for that, but riders certainly enjoying the riding, all smiles after the event as we see Saya Sakakibara and Manon Veenstra leave the gate and head down that first straight. And all action as Cameron Wood goes over that turn, gets tangled up with Michael Bias, but you can see by the smiles on the riders' faces as they come across the line who's gone through.
Well, fantastic racing, Rich, to kick off the action here that we're covering here at Sarrians in round number 2 of 6 rounds of the UCI BMX Racing World Cup for 2025. Do make sure you get yourselves refreshed, rehydrated, refueled. You can see that's exactly what the crowds are about to go do. They're going to go visit those trade stands out and around at Sarrians. We're going to get ourselves refueled, so do make sure you join us for the semi-finals and the finals here at round 2. But from Rich James and myself, Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you again very shortly.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Riders ready, watch the game.